All right, let's talk about Jaws 3. Just kidding, I didn't watch the Blu-ray, I watched the DVD because this Blu-ray sucks. Yes, I've said it enough, but this is the Jaws 3 review, so I have to talk about the Blu-ray of it. I hate it. Freaking HD picture. Fucking balls. Oh shit. It looks way worse than the DVD. Now, I definitely think that this movie was inspired by Westworld with Yul Brynner. No, not the TV series. There was a movie once upon a time, and I think that this drew some inspiration from there. I think that the idea of taking the shark into a park, like a SeaWorld, and that's actually pretty surprising to me, that SeaWorld let them use their name. And Shamu was even in the movie. Like, they call him Shamu and everything. So I thought that that was interesting because that could create a lot of bad press and people who don't want to go to SeaWorld because who knows what could happen kind of thing. People are silly. But yeah, I just was watching this like, oh wow, it really is like, that's right. I haven't seen it in a little while, so I was like, is it SeaWorld? I knew it was supposed to be like a SeaWorld, but it's actually SeaWorld and Shamu and everything. So I thought that was pretty risky in a way. Of course, this is the third film, so this has to be in 3D. Friday the 13th, Amityville, Jaws, they all kind of fell prey to that. And I think that I haven't seen Amityville's in a long time to compare. I've seen Jaws. I've seen Friday the 13th many, many times, but this 3D is not very good. Like, there's just not enough coming at the screen in order to fully feel the 3D aspect of it. And some of the 3D shots like that are specifically for it, the fish's head being torn off in the beginning, and especially, the shark blowing up at the end, and it's like jaw bones and jaws come at the screen. Ha ha ha. It just looks bad. Not like, oh, this is the 80s, give them a break. It's like, no, this just looks straight up terrible. So I don't know. The 3D thing definitely hurt the film. Now, I don't think this film is anywhere near as bad as people seem to claim it is. I think it's fine. I think it's a fine film. I think where it's lackluster and where I think the film was hurt is in its third act. I thought that the third act was very weak and it was anticlimactic. I feel like that there was so much at stake and there was almost so much promised by the way they were setting all this up that there was just going to be fucking pure carnage that broke out. And it really just never comes. And I really feel like that's a good reason why maybe a lot of people didn't like this as much. But anyone who went into Jaws 3 expecting Jaws 1, I just think that they went in with the wrong expectations outright. Like, you cannot compare Jaws 1 and Jaws 3. It's just not a fair comparison. They're completely different films. Of course, they're in the same series, so people are, apt to do that. I get that, but you shouldn't let it cut down on your enjoyment level. Like, is the film watchable? Is it fun? Is there enough going on and keep your interest in this and that? Yes, then it's fine. It doesn't have to be Jaws 1. It doesn't have to be anything like Jaws 1, really. It's a totally different film. That's the point of watching a sequel or something else. It's a different, very, different take on it. So I think people get wrapped up in the first one or the second one. Like, if there's a really great sequel, then it's just like, there'll never be those movies. They don't need to be. They just don't need to be. So when I watch this, I'm like, this is a fun film. Yeah, it's got a weak third act, but there's enough going on here that I'm totally entertained. So to see that it has like a 3.6 or something on IMDb, I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's completely unfair. I think if this was not a Jaws movie, and it was just a fun shark movie at a SeaWorld, and especially if it had a stronger third act, like if Jaws would have caught into the park and just started munching shit like people right and left, which is what should have happened, I think that people would love this movie. Not like Jaws love it, but they'd be like, yeah, it's stupid, but it's a fun time. But because it has the Jaws tag on it, I think they take it way more serious than they need to take it. But I also don't think it's all that silly either. I think that it's a fine shark movie with some decent characters, some good acting from some good actors, and you know, I've already made my statement on the third act. But yeah, we get Dennis Quaid in this, who plays Mike, and we get Louis Gossett Jr., who is the park designer, opener, whatever, which he's always great. I mean, Iron Eagle is his franchise, his big name, but Louis has been around forever and done a lot of great work. And we even get Leah Thompson in here, which I never was like crazy into Leah Thompson, but I've actually, you know, I saw her in a Tales from the Crypt episode recently, and Howard the Duck obviously is another one, and here, and I have to say, man, like after these, I'm sold. She was gorgeous. She was a very, very attractive woman. This might be the best she had ever looked. She is beautiful in this movie. But yeah, I'm really surprised that SeaWorld let them use their name in this movie. That just surprised me with Shamu and everything. Now, this is, I like how when Sean gets to town, they go to the bar and he meets this girl who's playing this game Standoff, which I've never seen in my life, but he beats her at it by cheating and saying, "Look at my dick." And then the guy who's behind him, who like just lost to the girl before him, like comes back after they leave and like kind of just lock arms and walk off. He comes out and he's like, "I want you right now, here." He's like, it feels like he's in over the top with Sylvester Stallone. Like this is some serious arm wrestling freaking, you know, it's like you just lost to a girl 2 seconds ago. I don't know. It's so out of place in the movie. I just laughed when he came. He's like, "I want you." I mean, he's just embarrassed and he wants to prove to everyone that he can throw other people around the room. I don't know. I like that we get Sean is afraid of the water here, which, yeah, I mean, the fact that Mike goes off and works for SeaWorld after his experiences in Jaws 2, I don't know. I just, I mean, that's him facing his fears. Maybe people just run towards danger once they have it, and some other, you know, and then there's other people who don't. So, like, one went towards the water and one went completely in the opposite direction. Now, Sean was much younger than Mike was in those movies, so it probably had a stronger effect on him because he hadn't developed, he fully, you know, he developed with the shark fear. You just think Mike would probably have it from almost getting attacked by a shark in the first movie when he was younger, but he's just a tough kid. But I'll tell you, man, the quickest way to rid yourself of your childhood fears is to have a hot chick promise you a good night. Leah Thompson breaks him of his fear of going in the water pretty damn quick. All she had to do is, you know, strip down to a bikini, which I think would pretty much eradicate any fear I had. The big buff dude who goes down and gets killed in, you know, maybe 20 minutes, and his girlfriend comes and like throws all her shit at Dennis Quaid and is like, "You tell him, like, he's not around here, he's trash," and all this. And then the girl comes down and she's like, "I don't know where he's," and she's like, I hope he's not dead. Like, I hope nothing happened. Oh my God. Like, I totally understand that. Like, have you ever been super mad at somebody and then they leave and then you're worried, like, what if they die? Like, holy shit. Like, I've had that happen where they leave in a huff and then you don't hear from them for a couple days or something, and then you talk to people and they're like, "I don't know what happened to him." You're like, "Oh my God, is that the way we're gonna leave it off?" And then you're just gonna feel like a dick for the rest of your life. So I thought that was a pretty realistic part. And I was talking about in the last video how sharks are able to swim like 35 miles per hour and that humans just can't possibly swim anywhere near that fast. And I like that the dolphins are in this movie to assist them and kind of be little helpers and help Mike and his girl like swim away from this shark, because, you know, dolphins can get together and team up on sharks and take them down. So I like the use of the dolphins in this, although at the very end, the use of the dolphins is awful, and I'll talk about that here at the end. So they catch a great white shark in the park, and they go and they try to, you know, get it back, you know, nurse it back to health. And, you know, the girl goes off, and then they say, like, we got a new attraction, a great white shark. They put a great white shark in a freaking petting tank. Like, in one of those tanks where you can, like, go and pet the fish, where you, like, put your hand on it. Like, there's no rails. It's at, like, waist height. A great white shark in that display. Are you fucking kidding me? There's no fucking way. Now, it's true that you can't keep great whites in captivity. They just die. So that this is very realistic in that way. But the fact that they put them in there is ridiculous. Another thing I find funny in this movie is that the shark is just free to roam inside the park once he's in. And it's like the bumper boat area, the lagoon, everything is all connected by the same water. Like, there's nothing blocking anything off. I mean, I know Louis Gossett Jr. talks about, like, air bubbles that keep them separated and whatnot, but it's like, I just don't think that the area where the girls are skiing and they have, like, speedboats, all that's separating it is air bubbles. Because the kid could go off in the freaking bumper boat, it's, you know, wherever the hell he wants. It was silly to me. I'm just like, how is he swimming freely? Like, there's no barriers of any sort in here. But I mean, it doesn't really matter. But also inside that little display case where they're keeping the great white shark, yeah, great place to keep him. The girl jumps in, and her buddy dive. Like, they get in the water and then dive in to help him. And they're clear, like, right where they dive in, they stand up, and it's, like, up to their waist at best. It's, like, 3 feet deep. They dove into 3 feet water for no reason. It's just to add that extra urgency to them running towards it, like, oh, my God. And the fact that they're keeping a great white in 3 feet of water like that. And it's just stupid. It's so stupid. That part is ridiculous. And... every damn shark has to be 5 feet bigger. The first one was 25. I think the second one's supposed to be 30, and this one is 35. So it's just, I could just see them kicking this around the writer's room. Like, well, the last one was 30. Well, how about 35? And the next one's 50, and the next one's 1,000. Like, it's just, it gets exponentially bigger and bigger by 5 feet. I like when they're running over to help the people out of the water, and this guy takes a swing at the guy, and he, like, knocks him out and freaking, like, picks him up and takes him out of the water and puts him on the shore. I just thought that was great. Like, I don't got time for your bullshit right now. If you're not going to get out, I'm going to knock you the fuck out and take you out of the water to save your life. I ain't taking no for an answer. We also get a fin coming up behind skiers here as well, which is very reminiscent of part 2, and I liked it a lot. I like that shot. It just works for me, I guess. The fat guy in the bumper boats who runs into Sean and Leah Thompson here when they're standing up on the edge trying to start their... What a dickhead. That guy should have got eaten. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, no one gets chomped. No one gets killed in this third act except for, like, a lab technician that's inside the tank with them, and then the, you know, it's no one that... They should have had at least 5 to 10 deaths. This sounds evil, but they should have. They should have had the shark get loose once they realized it was there, and it should have chomped a couple of those skiers. It should have taken the fat guy down in the bumper boat. It should have went over and taken a couple people out of that, you know, on the waterfront part where they, like, are hanging out at the ocean front. Like, all those areas should have had, like, 1 or 2 deaths. Like, should have been full on carnage, because that's the way they're like running around, like Dennis Quaid's jumping on a golf cart and taking off and throwing the popcorn off, and he's running over and he's grabbing the loud the speakerphone or whatever, megaphone, sorry, and he's like, "You get out of the water, get out of the water." And then it's just, I don't know, there's such an urgency to it. There's such a threat. And there's just like no reward. And then the end is just so abrupt. It's so fast. Like once they have went down there and they're like, how did it get back out? It's just, they go and they try to let the water out of there. Like he should have been able to eat a couple people inside that attraction that was underwater. Just not enough happened in that way. And I feel like that was a missed opportunity. He could have like broken that open and got in there and been swimming around. I don't know. But as I said, it's just that the third act kind of bummed me out. And we get this like super PC explanation of what's actually happening in the park. They have like their spokesperson go up there and give the media a bunch of bullshit version of what's happening, like really watering down and being very wishy-washy with the real details. I thought that was funny. That's so realistic of what they would be like. And the fact that they go after this thing, like they find out it's in the park and they're like, all right, we're going to go get it. We're going to go like take this thing down. Let's go in the middle of the night when we can't see a damn thing. Why? Like that whole thing where the people were trapped down there and all that would happen during the freaking broad daylight. Like why weren't they down there instantly? Like I find it funny that they just ran down there. Like, it was like, all right, it's nighttime, let's get on here. Now, I guess it could be argued that it took them a little while to try to trap the thing, whatever, but it just, it all seemed so quick. Like, it seemed like the middle of the day when this took place, and then they're not getting down there until it's like black night. It's ridiculous. It's fine, it's just, I thought it was funny. And the dolphins are definitely some of the heroes in this movie. I think the shark looks really good in this. I really like its, I like the way that its teeth move inside its mouth. I think that looks really good. I like that it like curls up its nose and almost snarls. I thought that looked good. I thought the shark in this looked really good. I mean, in comparison to the rest of the series, I thought it was as good or better than the other two. So yeah, I really liked the shark in this. I don't see why people would think this looks so terrible. I don't think that, the one in part 1 or 2 looked any better, that's for sure. And now I was talking about in my Deep Blue Sea review how the water definitely does not come in fast enough. It does not feel like when they break it open and the water all rushes in. It's just like coming in too slow. And this one, he breaks open that freaking, that tank where Louis Gossett and Mike and all these people are, and it like fills in like a second. Holy shit, it fills up fast. I was like, now that is how it would fill up. And God, the 3D explosion at the end is so bad looking. I forgot to mention at the very beginning, the title card actually chomps, like the 3 are teeth and they chomp together to make the 3. I thought that was cute. But on the flip side of that, where the jaws didn't work is in the 3D explosion when the shark blows up at the end. It's so bad. It's so bad looking, and it was such a terrible decision. And speaking of another horrible decision here, is at the very, very, very last frame of the film. They're celebrating, and she like puts her arm up like John Bender style, and dolphins, not in the fucking movie, like on the side of the screen, and it's been like composited in and like almost animated looking in a way. They like pop up on the edges of the screen and then like freeze frame as she's like, yeah. Whoa, what a bad way to end your movie, because that's like the last taste that's left in your mouth when you leave the theater or when you stop watching it at home or whatever. You don't want to have a bad ending frame. That is a huge mistake. It's going to instantly make your film feel cheap. Even if the rest of the movie was pretty good, that last bit there can genuinely hurt your film. Kind of reminds me of A Cure for Wellness, directed by Gore Verbinski. Really cool movie. I mean, very stylish, very Italian cinema, gothic kind of horror, which you just don't see anymore. But I thought that movie was just pretty great. And then there's just this last like 5 seconds of the movie where you know, a character's like smiling really weird or laughing or something weird with it, and it just hurts the film. It just leaves off with a bad taste. Like, ooh, that was a bad way to end it. Like, ugh. It just, yeah, you don't want to end your movie poorly. So, but anyways, I enjoy this. As I said, I don't know why this is just so hated like it is. Like a 3.6 on IMDb. That's ridiculous. This is at least a 4.1. I would put this at like, I don't know. I'm not a rater. I don't care. I enjoyed the film. I just wish the third act was a little more ravenous. I wish that there was more carnage and excitement in that third act. But all right, anyway. On to Jaws the Revenge with growling sharks. All right.